the full report instead. Gas price actually dropped to 1 way. Can you imagine that one day the day ever came that I had to write the code for decimals in the this kind of extension. So the gas price now currently hovers within 1 point something. So eventually most gas trackers now have 0.1, 0.5, 1 point something. So that's about 0.12 cents, 51 ringgit. So finally the price of Ethereum gas now is about the price of going to a toll, more reasonable. There is an Ethereum film, so-called, that documents the journey of how Vitalik built Ethereum, as well as how Ethereum as an idea and community grew over the years. They're testing a new film distribution format. In the traditional film world, films get mostly distributed through cinemas. You go to the cinema, you buy a ticket, and that's how films make money. Now, the producer is trying this experiment where they release this film as an NFT. So in order to watch this film, you need to buy this NFT, and then you get access to this movie. I'm not sure if they plan to open it to cinemas, but it's really an experiment to how film is produced, distributed, and financed. Exchange to bring lots more liquidity for all of you here in Malaysia, and that is Hata. They recently gained exchange token license. So among the exchanges here, you now have Luno tokenize all those exchanges plus Hata to supply more liquidity in Malaysia ringgit against your crypto assets. So that's July's news. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. So right now I'm going to session to Jenny to speak about updates of the Ethereum Convo 2024. Over to you, Jenny.
So yes, for those of you who don't know, we have Ethereum Convo 2024, which is a conference and hackathon happening at KLCC, which I don't think you can see from here, but yeah, it's going to be a really big event. We got some exciting speakers coming up. I don't think I can announce them yet. But as you saw, Mata Network is our title sponsor, and we're going to announce more sponsors as it comes. Maybe I can drop some hints. Some guy, Mr. V, is going to be talking. There's going to be giant penguins at the event. Some guys with weird red goggles are going to be there. Yeah, it's going to be exciting. So ticket sales are out. Hackathons, where's Ethan? Hackathon applications are out, right? Yes. So we haven't launched it yet officially, but you can also register for the hackathon. Our current bounty is about 100,000 ringgit minimum. So it's going to increase as more sponsors confirm their bounty details. And yes, that is about it for ETHKL. I'm missing, I don't know. It's okay. That's all for me. Oh yes. There's no volunteers? Okay, wait. Okay. So you guys can talk about this.
Okay, so basically, not much. It's just recruiting volunteers for our Ethereum Kuala Lumpur 2024. So it's on the 4th to 6th of October. And we have this massive venue at KLCC, KL Convention Center. We have 3 massive halls. And there's a lot of things that we have to take care of lah. And because we don't have much experience, so we would appreciate any support from y'all, like to volunteer. So if you want to ask what do I get as a volunteer, it's mostly vibes. So as a volunteer, you get free ticket to ETHKL 24. You get some special volunteer swag, transport allowance on the day of duty, be part of a community of amazing volunteers, and then also an invitation to a volunteer thank you celebration. Right? So yeah, if you're interested to volunteer, please look for me after this. Then let's have a chat, and then I'll let you. Then we'll figure out from there. Thank you.
So for context, TY actually volunteered last year to be the volunteer lead, and it seems that he enjoyed. I think he feels that he enjoyed this very much. This year he's one of the co-organizers. So yeah, so if you have free time and you want to volunteer, feel free to contact TY and the team. So. Give me a few moments. I'm going to upload the slide in a bit. Yeah, guys.
Down, down. There we go. No. Down, all the way down. Okay, here.
Right.
Yeah, so without further ado, I'm going to invite Yisi to speak on this topic on, yeah.
Good evening. CTO and mask. In case you guys don't really know what a mask is, well, we have been building, Web3 social. We're like decentralized social network, not just like network, because like we haven't never, built any like platform, but we have been building like tools, infrastructures, or front-end applications since like 2019. And today, but I'm not gonna cover a lot what we have already done. Instead, I'm gonna cover what we are doing right now. So this is kind of a list of what we have done in the past. We have like Mass Network, which is the browser extension that allows you to send encrypted messages on Facebook and Twitter, and on many other like major social media platforms. And then I'm gonna talk a little bit about it later, about why we built this in the first place. And then we have TensorCube, which is also like one of our two first products in 2019 actually, which is a like input method that you can that allows you to send encrypted messages through any like apps or any instant messaging apps you want. Because it's basically just like it's a keyboard. You just type and then encrypt, and you just send through those like windows or those like interfaces. And then we have like Twitter, or because like it's more like a Japanese name. It should be like Twiddle, but whatever. It's a it's a pure Twitter third-party client which like allows you to browse your Twitter timeline without any recommendations, without any algorithms. But like Twitter has been really hard on their APIs, so we no longer maintain that anymore, which is such a pity. But well, you can still find the open source like code on our code base if you want to see what we have done in the past. And Next ID, which is a identity protocol we have been building since like 2021, which is simply just a like abstract of the core components in Mask. Because I imagine this, because we allow people to encrypt their message. We're like sending encrypted messages on major social medias. Like the very core modification is actually the identity. So we decided to abstract this like identity protocol to be so that more people can benefit from it. And we have Firefly, which is a social media aggregator. You can just browse Twitter, Fatcaster, Lens, and many other, or also like Mastodon on the same app, on the same timeline. And if you haven't heard about it, make sure you give it a try. It's really fun because you can just see what people are posting on different social medias. Because many people decided to leave Twitter or other major platforms, but you don't really know what they're what kind of platforms they're posting right now. You can just easily find it through here because we did a lot of and also did a lot of the identity aggregations so that you don't miss your friends' posts on any other social media. And we have a Mastodon, which is a in case do you guys know Mastodon? No. Okay, Mastodon is a decentralized social media built on top of ActivityPub. It's not fully decentralized, but it's decentralized than Twitter and Facebook. Basically, you can anyone can host their own server for this. In this they call it they call it what verse? Can't remember. Fediverse, yeah, because it's a federated social media, so they call it Fediverse. Anyone can just host their own server in this Fediverse, but you still register to one. Well, if you don't host it yourself, you still register in a server that's hosted by someone else, and then that host can control everything on that server. So we decided to do something to make it more decentralized, which is Mastodon, which is simply just removing all the hosting to IPFS, so that your data is not stored on their server anymore. It's stored on IPFS, and then you can retrieve it anywhere else where you can just access to IPFS network. And we are also hosting 3 really large Mastodon instances, which is Pau.net, Mastodon.Japan, and the Mastodon Cloud. In total, we have I can't remember in total, but around 100,000 monthly active user, or it's a weekly active user. I can't remember, but they're huge. Sorry, no, not them. Can't remember, but yeah, in total we have over 1 million registered users in there. But I can't really remember the active user base, but still it's large. One of the largest Mastodon instances in this world. Well, in this Fediverse. So we have done a lot of things, in this field, including infrastructures, protocols, front-end applications, and so on. But it's not enough. We just want to make Web3 social or decentralized social or some social that really cares about people towards the next step. And so starting from why we started Mask Network, our original name was a Mask Book, which is just simply we want to put the mask on Facebook. Starting from this picture. So Mr. Mark Zuckerberg went to the hearing about what they have done to the entire world or to the U.S. people. that they and a company called Cambridge Analytica cooperated to influence many major elections, including the 2016 U.S. presidential elections. What they have done is they use the data and the privacy on Facebook, and then just use algorithms to post some political advertisements to the same platform to influence their judgments and opinions on many things, including kind of the which president they're gonna vote for. So we decided to this is a huge problem, and not just in Facebook, and not just in the U.S. It's a huge problem. The privacy is a huge problem all over the world. Not in the U.S., not just in China. I bet every single country has this problem. So we decided to have something, create something to help people in these areas, so that they can still use these major social media without being abused by these platforms like Twitter and Facebook. So we have, this is kind of a list of problems we have right now, which I bet you guys already know this. Identities do not belong to users. They do not belong to you. Think about it. Whenever you're registering for an account on any Web2 platform, what you have to do is to fill out a form, which is a registration form with your username, password, and some of your private information, and then send this form to their server, and then they need to allow you to register. Once you register on that, you do not have the ownership over those identities. What you have is the access to these accounts. You have the right to do something on top of these identities, but you do not own them, because these platforms can easily do anything to your account. They can just easily delete your posts, or ban your user profile whenever they want. And then under their privacy policy, where there's some policy you have never read before. Data does not belong to you guys either, because your data is simply think about your account. You don't have ownership over your account. How could your data belong to you? The data are all theirs. They control everything, and then they can do whatever they want to you guys. And this is not just now. This is already been this way since the emergence of major social media platforms, or these large companies since 20 or 25 years ago. Privacy is apparently missing and abused. And actually, the business model right now for major platforms or major internet companies are you can call it advertisement based, but it's also you can also call it privacy based, because the more private data they can get from you, the more accurate the advertisements can be. So they actually are not selling anything but your privacy. And this is something we really want to change through our innovations, or I would just say just tools we have built. So these are just a list of the social media platforms right now. On the very left are Facebook, Threads, and X or Twitter. These are purely just Web2 and decentralized servers or decentralized social medias. And in the middle, on the top, which is Mastodon, and Mitski, and Google Social. These three are all built upon the protocol I mentioned, ActivityPub. And then there's also another federated social media solution called Diaspora. But Mastodon is the biggest one among them. As I said, like federated social media are more decentralized than these like centralized servers, but still like centralized in some way. But on the very right, you can see many like not truly decentralized yet, because like in their roadmap, like Nasser, Fatcaster, Lance, in their roadmap they claim, well, I can't say this because it's live streaming, but on their roadmap, it should be like fully decentralized, but not yet. They still have like centralized components in their running servers, but I bet they're going to like fully decentralized in the future. And then we also have Blue Sky and Secure Scuttlebutt, which is like on the top right. These like Secure Scuttlebutt has been there for I can't remember, at least like 10 years, which is really cool social media. But it's because it's a decentralized, and then it requires a lot of like understanding over these decentralized technologies. So it's a little bit hard to get real users to use it. So it's still like within a really small group of people, but it's really cool. But these are kind of the social media protocols or solutions, or like the existing platforms you can find like on the internet right now. But what we are focusing is still like it's always on the very right. And we also have like existing auction social, like the Zen, like the Lens and the Fatcaster, or Nasser. Usually their design is simply just like putting those like identities and actions onto blockchains. Like you can, like a Lens, it's you have your account, you have your follow the relationship, which is like simply your social graph, and also like a like reply repose on major blockchains. And then it's good, but there's a problem within that. It's interoperable within each protocol, but not across, which means like you can simply build many different front-end applications on Lens or on Fatcaster, but because within these protocols everything is like transparent, everything is permissionless. You can have a different front-end, different front-end clients in the same protocol, but they do not talk to each other at all. Lens has their own design, and Fatcaster has their own. Everyone has their own design in their protocol, so they cannot be interoperable easily without any like third-party efforts. Which is a little bit, to me, it's a little bit of pity, because like whenever we're talking about like Web3 social or decentralized social or any like social better than this, it needs to be like at least it's interoperable. At least it's like more open. What they are doing is not like helping this forward, in my opinion. So we need something else. But social is everywhere. It's not just on social media platforms. If you like search for social, you can find on all these like activities that's related to social. It could be like not just like basically if you take a look at it, it's basically any activity that involves like more than one people or more than one person is called social. So it's everywhere, and we cannot just like build infrastructures just for social media. We also need to like build a more low-level infrastructure for any like social activities, and if we want a better one. So this is it's also like happens in the blockchain field. We have like NFT, DeFi, or GameFi, any like thing you can think of involves social. Think about like DeFi. If we don't have like Telegram groups or these like different instant messaging apps, there cannot be like any DeFi protocols that's popular as what we have right now. Also for NFT or any like Web3 games or full launching games. It involves a lot of like social activities between the users, between the game players. So it's everywhere, not just in our like real life, but also on like blockchain. So basically, what I want to like say to here today is like a social is we cannot just like build infrastructure just for some like purpose. If like social is everywhere, we need more general infrastructure to accommodate all these like needs and demands. So what is really needed? Here I have like some of like what I've thought in the past years, a few years. The first one is like we need a lower barrier for non-crypto users to get on board onto this like new world. Even though we have been talking about this like since the beginning of like blockchain, still it's a huge problem. We need to like build better, like not just protocol on the protocol level, so on the front end client level. We need people to get on board this. If like blockchain where like Web3 social is not played by anyone, it's like useless. Because like social media, it's not just like media. It's not like a network. Well, it's not like a media. It's a network. It needs a lot of people that's participating in this graph or in this network. Without people, we don't have anything. And we also need maybe like for micro activities, we need like a lower or like zero transaction fees so that they can better benefit from this like new applications. Because like I talk to a lot of people why they don't use like crypto because some of the answers are like they're not making money on that, but most of them are just like saying they don't see any like incentive to come here. Why would you need another social media if all of your friends or most of your friends are still on Facebook? It's no point. There's no like any single point they want to move, and that's also why we built like mass network in the first place. We were not like building a new social media. What we did was to like it's browser extension, and you can just like simply still like post on Facebook and Twitter, and our like extension can encrypt your message directly on like these like on your web page, and just post it, and then whenever you see some like post that you have the access to, you can see the rendered on the content or like content behind the encrypted like in gibberish. So basically, we don't really want people to leave the major like platforms, like until they have like the real incentive to leave it. But still, like we cannot see that. Even though like Twitter was bought by Elon Musk, a lot of people, well, that was like 2 years ago, I guess. Yeah, a little bit less than 2 years ago. Many people left Twitter to like other like alternative platforms like Mastodon, but still like a major group of people are still like in Twitter, even though Elon Musk announced they're gonna charge you for doing any like reply, likes, and the reposts very soon in the future. I'm not sure, but yeah, they actually posted some like A/B tests on Twitter a few months ago that you need to like pay to reply or pay to like. But even though I don't think people are leaving, so we need a better infrastructure. We need better more incentive for people to leave these like major platforms. People always say they care about privacy, but whenever whenever like a privacy solution is provided to them with like actual efforts, they just give up. Because there's no like incentive for them to give up all the benefits they have right now. And we need social. Is it like too long? Can someone just tell me how much time do I have? Maybe 15. Okay, I can do it. So yeah, what else we need is like a shared social graph across protocols and blockchains, which is think about it. Lens and Fatcaster and Nosters or even Blue Sky, they don't talk to each other. Not just like, well, Facebook and Twitter don't. Any social media don't talk to each other. So we need we need a more interoperable and more open social media or social infrastructure that can accommodate all these interoperability problem. We're now forcing these protocols or these solutions to have similar or same design, but we can do it we can try to help them in the low level or in the lowest level, lowest side. And we also need a shared social data so that we can just tokenize it or capitalize them so that you can really use your social data on major blockchains. So this is kind of think about financial data, financial capital you have. You also have your social capital, but they're not capitalized yet. We need some infrastructure that allows you to do so. We're not forcing you to capitalize your social data, but at least we need something to accommodate these demands. Well, to be honest, I care a lot about privacy. Capitalizing or tokenizing your social data is really risky. But still, we need to try to find a balance. Because whenever we're talking about privacy preserving solutions, no one's gonna use it at all. We need to try to find a balance between convenience and the privacy. And then there must be a switch that you can turn on and off whenever you feel that you want to have your privacy or not, or have something private and have something public. But these can all be controlled by you, not by the major platforms. So we need a protocol, or need an infrastructure that allows you to do so. Also, we can also have identity aggregator with both public and private information. You can, whenever you want to connect with your different, account or identities across different platforms, you can do so. But you can also have private information that's upon request from the applications you want to interact with. Graph data structure for running graph algorithms, which is something that has never been done on the blockchain field. Think about EVM. If you know graph algorithms, basically they're just what we really need is just breadth for searching, or just search problems. But whenever you're doing searching, especially on the major blockchains, you're gonna visit a lot of accounts, a lot of nodes, which is costing a lot of gas, which is not economically possible right now. So we really want to do something in the lower level, which is in the state DB level, to make it happen, so that you can easily run any algorithms BFS, DFS, or Dijkstra, or anything community discovery or recommendations directly on these blockchains. I'm gonna talk about it later. I'll cover that more in details later. And we also want light clients for users to self-host and connect, so that people control their data, control the interface to this network. There now we're any centralized services for IPFS, Pinata, Cloudflare, and for Ethereum, you don't really have to rely on QuickNode or Infura anymore. So I'm gonna talk more in detail in a bit. So this is what we have done for identity. We have done account abstraction. We have we allow people to authorize the transactions with their with web authentication, or Apple Secure Enclave, or the same thing applies to any major devices you have right now, also on Android, so that you don't really need a two-story or private key anymore. You just have your phone with you, and then with your biometric data or your password to authorize any transaction you want. But still, like, you know, it's not novel. It has been done already by many people, and then it's still like there's a roll-up improvement proposal that has just been merged a couple months ago. So it's not like novel, but we really want more elliptic curves to be supported. Like, well, right now we have like P256, which is covered in RIP 7212, but we also need like ED25519, and also, if possible, post-quantum cryptography, so that whenever, you know, there's a risk of like quantum attack, we can easily switch to these like or switch to these like solutions so that people don't lose money. Which is, well, it's a little bit like early to like talk about it, but I think this is really, really huge. And in many like construction proposals, although they're not mentioned directly in these like proposals, I think this post-quantum like safety is always like one of the highest priority in these like new proposals. And we need identity mappings directly on the blockchains. This is what we have already done. Think about it. If you can send some like token or funds to any like arbitrary ID at some like domain name, for example, if you talk to a mom and you want to send to a mom some like tokens, but you don't really know like, your mom doesn't really have like a private key yet or like a wallet yet. So you want to send some funds to her, or some like arbitrary friends you have on Twitter or on Telegram. Well, on Telegram we have ton, but on Twitter we don't have any solution yet. So think about it. If there's a blockchain that you can send like any funds to these like arbitrary identifiers in Web 2, and they can use some like, you know, really simple tool or simple solution to claim the fund. That would be like, you know, introducing a lot of like people into this world easily, even though they're not aware of like you have sent the funds to them. Whenever they find it, they can easily claim it. Just like if you guys know Keybase, you can send encrypted messages to anyone you know, like on any like major platforms using Keybase. But we want to have the same functionality on the blockchain too. So in this way, you can easily do any airdrop to any like Twitter account or Facebook account or any like, you know, account you can think of. We also have like some integrated identity graph, which is just I think I have the graph diagram to show it. So basically, all of your like, you know, identities are separated. They're not connected by nature, and these like platforms do not want this like to be true either, because like they make a lot of money only because they have the data on their platform, and they don't really want to share with any other platforms. So if you are like famous on one like social media, you're not like necessarily famous on another one. If you have like 3,000 followers on Twitter, you probably just you can't have the same level of like followers on any other like social media easily. But in this way, if you can aggregate in a permissionless way, you can have the benefits of you know good representation where like, you know, social capital in different places, but have all the one single representation or credit in one place. So on the left, these are Web3 you know, addresses or link accounts. In the middle, which is a private key controlled avatar. We call it avatar, but original name was persona. But basically, it's just a private key that only you control it. And you can just do bidirectionally signature with all the, you know, all your Web3 accounts or Web3 wallets to claim that you have the ownership of both, which is to make a bidirectional like a linking. And on the right side, we have like the Web2 accounts. You sign one way again. But on the other side, like Twitter or Facebook, they don't have a private key. So you need to do something that that's only the owner of that account can do, which you usually just post some unique post. Maybe you have done that already in many Web3 applications already, but this is a really typical way to do so. So after you connect many of your accounts together with the same avatar, your social graph looks like this. So you're not just like you on Facebook or you on Twitter or you on Ethereum. You are you. You are like a collection of different accounts. So basically on the left, so we have an avatar A and an avatar B, which represents like two different people, two people. And on the left, you can have you both follow Vitalik, you have replied to after A has replied to after B's a post, and after B has retweeted after A's post. But on the right side, maybe you have some transactions, USDC transactions or Ethereum transactions, where you both interact with Uniswap or interact with some you both hold some NFT. So this is kind of the social graph, or integrated social graph, if we can have all these integrated identities together. And so it's not just social graph on top of Ethereum. It's more like a very global and comprehensive social graph. And that's just the interactions within two people. But in the bigger picture, it looks like this. So this is kind of the social graph that's kind of optimal, so that you can do a lot of things on top of this. But if we can partially implement this, it's still useful. At least it's way more useful than the existing ones. And if we, I think kind of a bit more okay, 2 more slides, which is doable. Okay, so graph data structure, I've already mentioned that. Basically, this is a detailed modification we're gonna do. So one is we're going to add a hash table for each address. Basically, think about your any Ethereum address. You do not have within the state DB, you do not have the information about which addresses have interacted with this address and how many times. But this is kind of really useful, and it's not a big modification. But if you can add this to the blockchain, what you can do is you can run native graph algorithms purely natively on this blockchain. And then with applications you can unlock includes Web of Trust, which is a trust network, or a social credits network. And you can also have really micro credit loan, so that people can get some loan, can lend some money by connecting or by staking some of their social capitals. And then you can have community or interest discovery directly on chain. This is not something you can do right now on the blockchain. Think about credit loan. You cannot do it because any DeFi or any smart contract cannot access the information I just mentioned. And this kind of data structure can also help a lot of other applications, including ZK proof, range proofing, or because I'm not gonna go into details in this, but if you're interested in ZK or interested in this kind of a data structure, you can just come to me after this. And this is in the last slides, I just want to mention this is kind of ideal on social media or social network we want to build. It's the blockchain, or because sorry, I didn't mention, but we're designing and working on our own L2. It's not gonna release very soon, but this is kind of the ideal kind of ideal features that we're gonna have. So this kind of like blockchain, it's a heterogeneous social media with both social data and the non-social data, which is just like financial data. You can still have like a DeFi on top of it, but DeFi can also include like financing your social capital or social data. And we could also have a native on-chain communication announcement, which is like, think about just like pure communication through blockchain. Well, there have been a lot of like, DeFi attacks in the past few years. And then one day, I received an email from, I can't remember, DYDX or another project. What they did was to send an email to their users about some like a potential attack or some attack that has already happened, which is a little bit weird to me because people in this world, Web3 people don't really check their email or do not rely on email at all. You can have like, if you want to protect your privacy, you don't even want to like review any like personal information to these like DeFi projects, including your email. So the most native way I could think of to notify your user about some attack or some like announcement is through blockchain, and then or through your wallets, because like the wallets is the only way that your like users are interacting with the blockchain. So this is kind of thing that's it sounds like it's super like costly, because each one of them it's a transaction, but we can make it happen because this is kind of the most native way to build a network on top of like in this like Web3 world. We want to serve not just like a public square, but also private communications, a private like living room that you can have like private communications that's happening off chain. And we want like direct monetization and the trading of any of your social capital on your wall, so that you can not just like browse this network, but also make money on top of it. And in this way, this network can be sustainable. The only like reason, we also want it to be neutral and uncensored, but you can always like put personal filters on the kind of the data or kind of the content you don't want to see directly. If you can have this like light node or person node, and then adding something to the social capital thing is like one of the reasons why why these three major Mastodon instances are like maintained by us right now. Like all of them are maintained by individuals in the past, but it's costing a lot for the servers. They cannot make it sustainable, only because like there's no way for them to have like both sustainability and also and also like not charging anything. So in this like a new kind of like social media, we want this to be sustainable. So we need to like introduce or welcome any like monetization or like mechanism in this network. And that will be all for me for today. And then if you're interested in me or in my company, just like these are the links you can check out. And thank you so much for your time. Sorry, it's been a really long time, 40 minutes, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you, Yisi. So right now we're heading to Q&A session. So I'm going to open questions the floor to ask Yisi.
Looking at your proposed graph data structure, right, and you need to host it, then you can self-host. Will that be a lot of redundancy? Number one. Number two, will that, currently there's a lot of data centers around that are running, mirrors of all this data. With this, I think there'll be more data being hosted in different parts. I'm thinking that I can host like parts and parcels of it, not the whole thing. Do you think it's going to be more data or going to be less data than the current conventional way?
I see. So basically, the state DB is around 150 gigabytes on Ethereum. I can't remember, 100 to 200. It's not big. For if you want to run the full node, and then the state DB is like as large as that. But the full node, including all the historical data, is a good way, like 2 terabytes right now, which is huge. But what we really want is like the kind of the state data. If you want to run graph algorithms, you don't really rely on all the historical data, because like this kind of like this hash table is kind of the compressed version of that historical data. So I think it's more efficient, and I think it's not adding a lot of data to the state DB either, because if you take a look at the state DB structure, it's doing a lot of things. This is only a really little data to be added there, and then we will have some statistics if you are interested in the future. But we haven't done any simulation.
Especially if you scale the number of users and you scale the transactions, it's going to be quadratic. It's not a linear growth.
Well, ideally, it's an n-squared modification, but Ethereum or like major blockchains are all like sparse graph. So you only very small group of like nodes are creating a lot of like transactions. So it's not. I don't think it's a big deal, but we'll definitely run simulations on that. It's really important. And then to your next question. I don't think it's creating. Well, I think it's since we're only storing the number of interactions here, not just like the entire historical data. So it's not like as costly as the conventional. It's more like simpler version of like social graph than the conventional like social graph that we have in Facebook social media. So I think it's at least like way better than that one. But we just, as I said, we just want to find a trade-off here. We cannot just mimic the same kind of data structure as we have in the Web2 social, but we still want something to help us, do some computations that we can change, which is, still, we're still like, finding this like, trade-off.
Probably I have another question regarding, you have talked about a lot of text data. How about pictures or videos? How is that going to be handled?
I don't think that can be like stored directly on blockchain, on any blockchain, right? So we just need a CID, or if you talk about IPFS, it's just content ID, content hash. We just want to like separate the storage of like the raw data and then the hashed version of that on-chain. It's more like L2 and L3. The L3 is serving as the the data storage. But there's no incentive for us to build this L3. We can just use like IPFS or even like Filecoin or Arweave. There have been a lot of like existing solutions. We just want to find a way to integrate them like natively here.
So the main question, I think, generally for identity on chain is always, if you have a key and you lose it, you've built up a bunch of transactions, bunch of interactions over the years, and now it's completely gone. And potentially the person who steals your key now can kind of co-opt your identity. I think you mentioned having multiple wallets and stuff like that, but any thoughts on how to kind of counteract that?
Right. So as you can see, if one of your or one of your accounts are stolen by someone else or leaked to like third parties, what you can do is like you still own the other like accounts, and so you can just like so there's a mechanism called you can unbond some like it's just saying bindings by using like all the other accounts to prove it. So basically, if you lose the access to some of your, accounts, you can just like use other maybe 2 or 3 other like accounts to unbind it. So basically, I bet it's a worse way, since you can have like forgot your password or like something like that right now. But there's a trade-off. We cannot have the same kind of mechanism.
Are you thinking of the person themselves or having some sort of social recovery?
Well, I would say this is something I talk about when I first released this. So not everybody has friends. It's just true. You still like can rely on some other like arbitrary people to help you recover your accounts. Or recover your private key, or recover the access to some, smart contract wallets. But not everybody has friends. So I call it like autistic like recovery. Basically, just like you can also do the same if you have like multiple hardware wallets or like wallets as your like the party of your like social recovery. In this way, you can just have you already have a lot of like accounts that you get access to. So you just directly use these to recover, to mimic kind of the same like social recovery, but with the same person as yourself. But yeah, I know it's kind of like weird and kind of like tricky, but this is kind of the trade-off I think towards towards Web3 social. This is not the optimal way, but we're still trying to find a balance here.
Maybe to answer, it's not a full solution, but maybe to answer to Harris, I have something because I worked previously on the IT project, so my opinion on that it's all about the architecture of your security. Maybe if you have something like a master key, and with this master key, you how can I say, you make your architecture like you have a multi-sig, etc., like a classic way you can see, but you use something a Bitcoin solution like Liana, and every 1 year and 3 months you make a signature, and you're 1 of 3. If you don't sign, it's become a 2 of 3, and you have this kind of social recovery, for example. And when you do that, you give not directly the social identity, but the child key. And like this, you can revoke the identity. You mentioned previously the Web of Trust and Keybase. They exactly do that. If you lose your key, you just have to revoke it, but it's on a centralized server. So basically, you can do something like this, I think. And I know it's not perfect, but if we really have in the future like a standard of decentralized identity, it's this. And the other question, maybe I want to have your opinion, right? I don't think it's perfect, but for the data storage, I think the future about clients and data storage, it's all about internet boxes. We all have internet boxes in our house. If we use that, we encrypt that, and we use it like a personal data server, I think we can use it like a node. We can use it like a data storage. We can give it access to other people for specific permission, etc. So but it's a lot of work. We can't do that today, but I think it's maybe some solutions into it. What do you think?
Yeah, well, actually, I didn't mention this in the slides, but my ultimate goal is like everybody can have their own, server at home or somewhere. It could be like your phone, like some like Android phone that you no longer use, but it's like charged at home and then connected to like internet. It could be a NAS. It could be a like some like your laptops, or it could also be AWS or any like major cloud servers. And then as long as you trust it, and then it's like trustful, and then you can in this way you can have your private key or any like key to be like stored in these like servers that can help you execute some of the transactions or some of the actions you want to have. For example, many of you guys know FTTT. It's just like it can. So in case you don't know that, it's a service that you can. Or basically, you can just define some like condition. For example, if Ethereum is over like $3,000, it'll just notify you of this like news. Or if something happens, it just like notifies you, or it does something. Some actions can be done. But right now, it's super like limited because you cannot give your permissions or like your credentials, your private keys to this like public third-party services. But what if you can have your own server? It can have the same, like exactly same functionality. It can monitor the price of Ethereum. It can like monitors the gas price. It can monitor everything. And whenever something happens, there's a key inside of the server that can execute some actions. If Ethereum is over $2,000 or $3,000, buy as much as I can, or something like that. So this is kind of the future I've been imagining since I built this like project, and I think it's still it's super far away because it requires a lot of infrastructures, especially how anyone can run their own server. There's a lot of like low code or no code solutions, but they're not perfect yet. So we still want to do that, but probably not now. But I think we have the same kind of like ideal scenario, or like imagination of like how people and blockchain can interact with each other. And I'm more than happy to talk about it if you want to know more about what we have done. We have done some like really small demo, very, very tiny MVP, but we just thought it's really too hard to let people use it. And regarding the key revoke thing, yeah, exactly. I did mention this because I didn't attach that diagram here. We do have the mechanism for revoking, and it's not a natural way to do so because people usually just want to click forgot your password. And another problem about revoking is like you always rely on a centralized or global like ledger recording the revocation or like binding new device. But in most of the attack scenario, you probably do not have the access to the global ledger all the time. If you only have the partial history on your end, you probably cannot see like this key has already been revoked, or any DDoS or any attack to the service.
That's why you want to revoke and make the identity like outdated forever, and you do it with your cold storage, the storage your master key you never use.
Right, but what if I want to send like some tokens to you, but like one of your addresses has been leaked, and I still want to send this to you, but I cannot access to the global ledger. Another word is I cannot access to the latest state of this global ledger. In this way, I would definitely just send a token to you to the address that has been leaked, and you cannot guarantee that all the time.
Yeah.
This is a huge problem. But
you have just to be synchronized with the ledger, so
right. So we still need some like centralized power to do so. But I don't know. Like this is, to be honest, no one cares about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even though, or even though, no one gives shit to that. So
Yeah.
it's
So actually, which blockchain do you use on your extension, on your solution?
Arweave.
Okay.
Yeah, which is like there's a SIG chain, just like Keybase. We just upload the SIG chain to the Arweave, and then we will record the last action, the hash ID or the transaction ID to the last action you have done, and then it has like back pointer to the previous ones, so that you can reconstruct all the actions you have done or someone has done to reconstruct the entire history. But it's no uses.
Yeah, it's very similar to Indexer.
Yeah.
I get it.
Sorry, I think we're gonna get a hard stop right here.
Yeah.
So once again, so a round of applause to EC for today's presentation. Without further ado, before we head over to pizza, we're going to take a group photo. Ruthie, should we just...
Yeah, so if everybody can like squeeze in a little bit, just one quick photo. One and three. One more. And
Yeah, so Pizzas is outside over there.